Alrighty. This is the beginning of the F100 Crown Vic swap. There's a bunch of them on YouTube, and I have watched several of them. And some of them, a lot of them have turned out well. Doesn't look like it's that bad a swap, but some of them, they didn't do them like I would have done them, but that don't mean they did them wrong. So this is the truck. Let me say, it's not my truck. Very solid truck for the state of Ohio. To find a truck this old to be in this kind of shape, it's very rare and nowadays expensive. It's a FE motor, stick shift truck, and it is going to remain FE motor and stick shift truck. May have to modify the oil pan. Don't know. We'll see when we get there. I've heard you do and I've heard you don't. But let me show you the front clip. We are not using the front clip out of the old Crown Vic. That's a 93 and up. The cradle does not come off of that. That's a steel cradle. You'd have to literally chop off the frame and marry it to the Ford frame, and we don't want to do that. So that truck there belongs to a good friend of mine named Patrick. Known him for, I don't know, 30 some years probably. He's a hell of a good guy, very trustworthy. Can't beat him. Anyway, got this. Like I said, it pays to have friends. Got this from another good guy named Mike. You can count on both them guys. If you're jammed up and need something and they can help you, they will. Anyway, this is the one that's going in it. You basically take these bolts out, these connections here, make your steering connection, your brake line connection, and make it work on that Ford truck. And if you ever drove one of them Ford trucks, you would soon know that any improvement would be appreciated. Power, disc, rack and pinion steering under that old Ford would create a situation where it'd be pleasurable to drive instead of scary as hell after about 60 miles an hour. I had a couple of them old Fords, and while they may not be scary, but the faster you go, a little more intense the ride is. Anybody tells you differently is lying to you. But I don't care what kind of tires you got on them or whatever, they just don't drive well, especially by today's standards. You drive them long enough, you get used to them, but the fact is they don't drive well. So this is an improvement by any means. And again, I'm not a Ford guy, but this is a good setup. If I was building a stock car right now, I would be using one of these front clips. It's just too serviceable, too adjustable. The brakes are big, the parts are light but strong. Ford hit a home run here, and I don't very often say that. So anyway, my opinion, this is an excellent swap, and I think he made a good decision. He's got a pretty good investment in that old truck, I think, and this will make it better. You know, some things, yeah, you know, they're only original once, but when you can make a huge improvement for a little money, doesn't really detract from the value, in my opinion. But, you know, some may argue that. That thing's not a Hemi Cuda. You know, it's not a R code or K code or whatever the hell Mustang. You know, it's just an old Ford truck. So I don't think you're hurting the value. As a matter of fact, I think you're increasing it, and you'll certainly be increasing its usability. And you know, when you get in something, you're a lot less likely to jump in it and drive it if it drives like crap. You know, if it's a pleasure to drive and controllable, and you know, it's a little more fun. So that's where we're at. And I don't know what part this is. I think I've already had part 1, so we'll call this part 2 and go with it. Anyway, I'm gonna take it down to the car wash. I got some degreaser here. We're gonna spray on it, and I don't mind getting dirty, but now's the time to clean it. It's a hell of a lot easier to clean it now than it is when it's stuck up underneath the truck. Then when we unbolt it, it'll be relatively clean, and you know, we'll probably clean it some more, but we want him to have a nice, you know, turn out to be a nice job. So anyway, that's where we're at. It's kind of borderline cold and definitely dreary and rainy out, and it's deer season right now in Ohio, so I'm surrounded by forests, so if you hear the occasional gunshot, that's usually what that is. But that's where we're at. Thought you might enjoy watching this. I'm going to do this my way. It may not be the right way. It may not be as good as the other videos on here, or in my opinion, it'll probably be a better way. Some of it's pretty straightforward, but some of the, for instance, there's two guys I've watched so far that when they make their steering shaft connection, they have no slip yoke. I don't know what they're thinking, but they go straight from this U-joint straight to the steering column U-joint. Well, there's no way for, they didn't build any possibility into their system for the steering column to telescope slightly. And you know, the front suspension might be mounted rigidly to the frame, but the body is not. You know, that's what these mounts here are, big cab mounts. So your body, even though it's bolted on, is bolted on rubber. So it's designed to move slightly, and every time you go over a bump or off camber area, that cab, I'm trying to get my glove off, slides around on that frame somewhat. So you're going to feel all that in that steering column. Not to mention, one of the things that those Ford trucks are famous for is the bearings going out of the steering column. And I'm pretty sure those are shot in that one. Part of the reason is when the cab mounts start to settle, it puts unusual amount of pressure on the cab, or on the steering shaft bearings. And anyway, they're notorious for going out. So to connect that like that with no slip yoke in it is going to be a problem. I don't care who does it. And there's two videos I've watched on YouTube so far that, you know, they did a pretty good job as far as most of their fab work. But to me, from this connection here onto this double D shaft, you can get a hollow double D shaft female part, cut this right here, and make you an overlap where it's up in there 3 inches or so, and just let it slide on here some. You can drill it, put you a grease fitting in it or whatever. This is stainless steel, so if you anti-seize the crap out of it, you wouldn't even have to do that. But anyway, you watch them on YouTube, you'll see that. That's one improvement we will do. I promise it'll have some kind of slip yoke in it. And some of them, the way they mount this back trailing arm to the frame, I'm not too sure I'd go with that route. At this point, I'm probably gonna, let me come around here where we can get a better view. I'm probably gonna cut this whole section out of this frame out around here, so I will have that plate. I either use this plate and fab it to the original Ford truck frame, or I can use it for a template. So that'll be for sure. Anyway, also a lot of them make a big deal about where they mount this sway bar. Well, that's not near as critical as people think. That can be moved forward on the frame probably 3/4 of an inch, or in this case, you can't come back 3/4 of an inch, it would hit the subframe. But you could, the location of that is not as dead nut critical as people would think. Anyway, so I've seen a lot of, worry about that, and it's really for nothing. If that thing is pretty close, it'll be fine. Obviously the location of it front to back has to be exactly right on each side, or you'll be building in steering into the truck. So that's where we're at. It's just a little bit of things we're looking to right now. And I know the oil pan clearance on some of the FE motors is a problem. So we're looking into, I'm looking to have a problem with that. So it may not be a big deal, and it may turn into one. So, but stay tuned. And I'd say, here we are coming into weather, and bad weather, winter, and most of it will be built right there on that pad outdoors. So we'll just do it as the weather permits. He's no hurry, I'm no hurry. So if you stay with us, maybe a few months, this thing will be under there, and show you how I do it. I'm not going to make like I'm an expert because this will be the first one I do, but I've done a lot of subframe changes under old cars and clipped race cars and whatnot. So it's not, in a way, it's way not my first rodeo, but at the same time, I've never done one of these Ford Crown Vic clips. So, and I'm not going to pretend that I did. But anyway, take it down here to the car wash, and this is just where I drug it, where the fella took it off. Over there it was setting, and I had to drag it 4 or 5 feet before I could lift it. Just dirt, it's not a big deal. But I'll blow that off at the car wash, get all the grease off of it, and we'll bring it up here and go ahead and start removing the parts. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Any suggestions, like and subscribe. We'll try to answer any questions and consider all your suggestions. So thanks again.